Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Austinator with a bit of an impromptu stream. I am by myself today because I figured that it's probably better for at least a bit of the stream for me to be by myself because I do want to talk about what happened last night. I also want to talk about what's going to be happening going forward. If you're watching this right now, thank you. I am hit the like button. But anyway, let's kind of get right into it here. Um, so yesterday's stream Splash Talk, it was kind of a mess. Not a mess in a way where it was like it was a bad mess, but the chat kind of went a little iffy yesterday. If I'm being completely honest with everybody, because, and again, this is not everybody's fault. This is not the chat's fault, or it's not everybody's fault. It just there are just people in the chat that kind of hurt the stream a bit. So I do kind of want to address that whole thing, and I want to address guidelines now for what the chat needs to be like moving forward. Because the chat, to me, it's I love having the chat because it's able for us, the panel, to talk with you guys, and we can answer your questions. And I thought that for the most part yesterday, the chat was fun. You know, we were doing some inappropriate jokes. We're getting stuff done here. But then there were just a lot of people, or I would say not a lot of people, I'd say like a couple people were leaving comments that I did find to be very inappropriate. So I figured we should start out with that. First of all, I found there's a I'm not gonna say who it was because again I'm not going to attack people. I'm just gonna say in general who I don't know how I would really say this. I would say it's primarily people that need to kind of be just a few comments that were left that I found to be very I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say like they were just inappropriate and they were just inappropriate for what people were trying to put. One person decided to put down. I'm not gonna say what again, not to say his name, but I'll say like what he put down, and that was hey Anzo, do you want to maybe jump on real quick? Because again, this is it was mainly the chat yesterday, and so basically, here's what happened. So the chat got out of hand. So here's the first thing that happened. There was a person on here. You know, the chat was going good. You know, we were reading the fan fiction. It was getting entertaining and stuff. Then there were some comments that I don't know if I should repeat, but there was like a comment that said all lives matter and all of that stuff. Um, Very inappropriate, especially because I do not support that. Because I do, like, again, we all know that. But at the same time, to me, that's insulting. And that's what I'm trying to explain is that when stuff like that happens, I have to now put my foot down. And I don't want to treat everybody like children because I don't want to do that. But at the end of the day, when comments like that are being left, it's inappropriate. I would even go as far as to say that's just comments you don't leave. And also there was a bunch of like race stuff too that I couldn't even reply to, and I said I'm not going to put that on my screen because again, this chat or just my stuff in general, everybody should be at least interested in what we have been doing, and it's one of those things where it's just bad, like it really is, and it just overall cannot happen again. If it happens again, there will be problem. And this is just for everybody. I'm not going by. It's not gonna happen. This is again. This isn't for. This is just for everybody in the chat. This isn't for uh just Bullshit. Then there was bullying in the chat, which the bullying stuff really, really bad. Really, that kind of upset me a bit because there's a person in the chat that were just, I wouldn't even go as far as to say were, it was again very, very out of place. Like, okay, I'm perfectly fine with everybody poking fun at each other, and I am perfectly fine with people just having a bit of a disagreement and having conversation. Like that's what makes us human. But then when shit like that happens, I have to then start saying, okay, enough's enough. Because I had to basically time out somebody yesterday, and I did not want to do that. It was a very, very, I would say I was just mainly disappointed with the chat because, again, I have moderators for a reason. And that moderators should be able to should be able to help take care of what happened. And this is again, this is for everybody, this is for the chat, that starting, I would say, next stream, I have to start implementing rules and guidelines to kind of make sure that it kind of smooths together properly. So basically, number one, and this is again, I don't want bullying in the chat. You have every right to roast at people. Like again, sometimes it's in good fun. And if it's in good fun, no big deal. Okay, I get it. But if someone asks you to stop and it's like, okay, stop. That's basically all I want people to understand is that I know the difference between bullying and just having some fun. And again, I'll also talk about punishments later because again, like guidelines are an important thing if I want to keep because this channel, I want it to be more of a fun channel where, it's bullshit, we talk about stupid shit, all of that. Hey, what's up, Bonzo?
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, man. Yesterday's stream, chat were ridiculous.
Yeah, what happened?
So, all right. So we had Splash Talk yesterday. We read the fan fiction, whatever, and just a couple people in the chat were being out of line, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So I'll just start with the first thing that's not like I guess it's a major thing, but one person was bullying another person in the chat. I had to basically say, look, and I'm very lenient too. I'm like, okay, I'll give you a chance. Like maybe it was a misunderstanding or whatever. But then once it became apparent, like, all right, this is not stopping. I was like, all right, look, this doesn't stop. I'm timing you out, and unfortunately, didn't stop, so I had to time him out. And
Cool.
and there was also they did all lives. There was like one comment that really pissed me off, and that was the all lives matter comment.
Yeah. But why did that come up? Were you guys talking about that stuff, or did someone just happen to throw it in there?
No, someone threw it in there because we were talking about the fan fiction. I saw that comment, and I'm like, I'm not putting that up.
Weird.
And I basically said, look, I'm not putting that up. I'm not going to say anything about it because at the college I'm at, I could get in trouble for what I say. So I'm just like, you know what? I said to them in the chat, I said, I'm not going to respond to that comment. I'm not going to respond to certain comments. So I said, like, that's why this stream is more like I have to set guidelines. I have to say, punishments, whatever. Yeah. And I basically said, I want the chat to be, I want it to be a fun chat. I want to be able to talk with other people. Want to be able to let everybody put their input in there, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But when comments like that are being placed, I have to say, put my foot down and be the bad guy.
Sometimes you do.
Absolutely. And the first thing I would have to say is that, again, the bullying thing, not happening. I'm not having that on my watch. And if that happens again, because again, I'm going to give a verbal warning the first time. I'll give 2 verbal warnings. The first time I'll be like, look, knock it off. Second time, I'll be very strict with it. I'll be a little bit more irritated, upset, and then the third time I'm just going to time you out.
Mm-hmm.
And then after multiple timeouts, I'm going to basically block. I'll block. I'm not going to permanently block somebody, but I'll block them for a good period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, hey guys, something's wrong. Oh, it's about yeah, pretty much basically. I'm not gonna say who it was. I know Andrew said it, but I'm not gonna attack anybody. They'll understand if it's just that. Also, I'm not gonna. Dude, I don't want to talk about politics or religion or any of that stuff on here as either, because that's just already opening a can of worms as it is.
Yep.
And that's just not happening. I'm not gonna. Also, the All Lives Matter thing. First of all, I do not support that. Let's start off with that. I think, to me, that is. I understand that all lives do matter, and yes, I agree with that. But to me, that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. It
So,
is.
basically, I'll say this: comments like that happen, I will block you. I will block people who do say that. I understand, like, again, if you got, like, if I ever have a stream where I have to do a topic like that, I will absolutely be like, I'll let you say what your opinions on it are. I'll say, like, okay, can you give me facts about it? But if it's on a
Mm-hmm.
stream like that, I don't want to see comments like that.
Exactly. Especially if that's not what your topic is about. Like, what was the point of putting that? I mean, we all know all lives matter, but that's not the point of the thing that's going on. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
yeah.
And yeah, and and also the inappropriate jokes. Look, I'm okay with inappropriate jokes. Like, it makes it more interesting. It makes it more, but just don't just chat. Just want to let you guys know. Just don't let it go too far to where it then becomes like, okay, really?
Yeah. Were they derogatory? Like,
I want like, well, first it was like plain old fun. Like, I would say that the inappropriate jokes are fine. That's just more of a warning. Just like, don't let it go too far.
mm-hmm.
Also, oh man, there was like another thing here, but I don't remember exactly what it was, but just also, if this isn't really a problem with the chat, but again, like this, there was a kind of an issue on stream with like language. I'm okay with cursing and whatever, but certain words cannot be used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and personally, if those certain words are used, then punishment's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like that will also lead to a. I would even say it could even lead to a permanent block, depending on the circumstance. But again, you will be blocked, but people will be blocked if certain words are used.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's basically just the chat going forward. Again, those rules will be implemented next stream, which is on Sunday. So chat, please, like if you guys know who I'm talking about, please send this to everybody who's seen the stream, who watches our streams. Please just go ahead and share it so that way, because again, really the first 13 minutes of the stream basically are the only real time that really matters. Because honestly, because again, like these streams are supposed to be meant for fun.
Exactly.
Like I read stupid ass fan fiction for like an hour on Thursdays. And that time is meant to, like, we were having a good laugh too. Like it was me, Sauerkraut, and Ninjoid, and Sour was doing his, woman voice, and Ninjoid was talking like an old lady, and and like that stuff. We just love to have fun here, and it's just at times it's like the chat can really ruin that.
Facts.
And I don't want to turn off the chat because to me, the chat is very vital to streams like this.
That is true.
And I don't want to take that away from people because I love to converse with people. I like to talk to you guys in the chat. I love to hear you guys' input. I want to hear you guys' questions. Andrew.
So all of this is from the regular people that come to your chat, bro?
Yeah, a couple people.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Andrew says, I understand all of this. They even come after me saying we're part of a cult. Yeah, that too. And here's the thing. I'm okay with someone saying like, okay, like here's what happened. And this is again not anything real major, but this is something I want to say. So basically we're talking about Snyder and we were talking about the Snyder cut. And then one person in the chat, we were having a kind of a conversation. We were
Mm-hmm.
saying like, hey, look, it's okay to say, like, I get their opinions. I do. But at the same time, we also have to look at the facts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Snyder was not to blame for the DCEU failing. That was WB themselves.
That is correct.
And basically to say that we're being a part of a Snyder cult because we're saying, oh, well, Snyder wasn't completely to blame. And I even said on stream that Snyder's vision was flawed, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that he's getting a chance to show his film.
Mm-hmm.
No one is part of a cult. Like, I'm not saying he's perfect. Snyder is not a perfect director, and I will never compare him to a Michael Bay because they are completely different.
It sounds like these guys been watching Jody and shit, bro.
Exactly. Like, because at least with me, I always give like a non-biased opinion. I always say, look, these guys put good movies here and there. I'm not saying that Zack Snyder put out bad movies. I'm saying Zack Snyder. Let's look at the movies Zack Snyder has put out. He's put out 300, Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, and those are more recent.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Bay, in more recent times, have made awful films.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard to disagree and say, like, yes, Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, not a huge fan of Man of Steel. I like the film. Just I'm like, there were points of the film where I'm like, all right, that's not Superman. That's kind of weird. And Justice League was a mess. And BVS, the theatrical cut was okay. And just, Jody always says Snyder Cult is everywhere and toxic.
Yeah, because people try to get this narrative that if you don't agree what they say, you're toxic and you're this and you're that, and it's all bullshit. Because I didn't have a big issue with Man of Steel. It wasn't the greatest movie. I didn't even hate fucking Justice League. I just know that it wasn't the fucking movie we were supposed to get. Sorry for the cursing, but it just wasn't the movie we were supposed to get. I want to see the movie we're supposed to get. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we were even giving our own opinion. Like, we were even giving facts. Like, the CGI looked better. The fact that Snyder, the fact that everything, the visuals are going to look better. The reshoots are definitely going to make the movie better. It's like, I just hate when people don't look at the facts.
Mm-hmm. It looks like a totally different movie.
Absolutely. Now, are they going to reuse some scenes? Sure. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but they're going to reuse some scenes from Snyder, not from Whedon. Anything Whedon did is not going to be in that movie.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if they at least keep the Superman where he comes back and, like, you hear the Superman theme, I would be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it says even Ray Fisher is a part of it.
Well, Ray Fisher has a lot to do with it, too. But the thing is, it's people are taking sides, and then it's like, if you don't agree with one side, then you're a part of a cult. And then if you don't agree with the other side, well, then you're just stupid, and like it just makes no sense, man.
Yeah, it's like take for me, for example, with Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I am not a huge fan of the sequel trilogy. I have always said this. Now, am I warming up to The Last Jedi? Yeah, it still has a lot of problems, but I said as an overall film, it's fine. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hate on it, but Rise of Skywalker's a mess. I've said this, the pacing's off. I don't like the tone, like, it's just all over the place. And again, I know Ninja's like, oh, the book.
Hold on. I just caught some. Did you say you're warming up to The Last Jedi?
Now, I'm not warming up to it completely.
Don't let them change your side, man. Don't let
Trust me, Canto Bite's still bad. Trust me, it is. No, it's so bad.
There's things in the movie that I like. Like, that's what I'm saying, right? You can still hate a movie, but have things in it that you like. Like I've always said, I love that scene where Snoke is talking to Kylo. You know, there's things I liked in it. But other than to say, oh, well, you're an idiot because you like it, or you're this because you don't like it, that's like kindergarten shit.
Yeah. Like, I get like with Solo. I don't like Solo at all. Like it is probably my least favorite Star Wars movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's boring. It didn't need to happen. If it was a show, I'd be like, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like as a film, it doesn't work. Lando was probably the best thing about the film,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
and just it was so. And like, Rise of Skywalker was just it was a mess. Ugh.
You're absolutely right about that too.
Andrew's like, worst part, Jody made t-shirts saying reject the Snyder Cult and Ye Fisher.
Yeah, I know. I've seen them. But that's just these guys playing on the hate. You know what I mean? Because they're getting views from it. So of course they're gonna ride it.
Absolutely.
They're gonna ride it. They're gonna do all kinds of videos on it. Like, get out of here with this Snyder Cult. I want to see the Snyder Cut. So what? I'm part of a Snyder Cult. Get out of here with that shit.
Absolutely. And Andrews actually gives a really interesting question. What is the worst toxic fan base of all time?
It's still Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is the worst one.
Yeah, it's still
I
Star
mean,
Wars.
just the sequel trilogy really ruined that entire fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that's just a fact. That's not even like saying like, oh, that's not even saying like, oh, well, that's there's no facts to prove it. Like, no, it was proven like a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
Even with like Last Jedi was the thing that really divided the fan base, and I feel like Rise of Skywalker just like killed them.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm okay with people stating their opinions and saying like, oh, the movie, wasn't good. Okay, fine. And then it's like, yeah, I understand that. Like I said, I have my problems with the sequel trilogy as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't go as far as say, because like here's my thing: Star Wars movies, they're not trash. I'll say they're bad. They're not trash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like with Last Jedi, not a good movie. I would say the visuals are good. I would say scenes are good. I'm warming up to it, but there's problems, too many, and just Rise of Skywalker. There's a lot of plot holes, a lot of just bad pacing. Like the movie could have been 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And it had sloppy editing as well.
Yeah, the movie was horrible.
Andrew says, I saw Spider-Man, and it has a toxic fan base when it comes to Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland fans and Andrew Garfield fans as well.
It does, but not as bad. Like, I don't think anything tops Star Wars.
No, like, at least with Spider-Man, like, it's not as toxic, like, because, again, I like having talks with people like, who's the best Spider-Man? And I always say, well, if you look at it, Tobey Maguire had the better films. Andrew Garfield may have been the better betrayal in terms of, like, the sciencey stuff. And Tom Holland is the better actor. It's like it's very hard to really say which one was better.
Yeah, I can agree with that because they're always going to have different. People are going to say Tobey Maguire. People are going to say Garfield. People are going to say Tom. So.
And the thing is, I like all three of them. It's just based off which one I would rewatch the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Like with Spider-Man 2, I think Spider-Man 2 is probably the best Spider-Man movie ever made, besides for Into the Spider-Verse.
I agree.
And to me, and Garfield, I think, had really great chemistry with Emma Stone. And I think he did at least a good comic book-ish portrayal of Peter. Holland is more like I don't know how to describe Holland in a way. It's like more of a younger version.
Yes.
So it's like all three versions are good in their own way, but I think if we're going by who got the essence of the character right, I would say Maguire.
I'd agree.
Andrew says, even though I can not admit it, the DCEU Snyder fan base too does have toxic fans.
The which one?
The Snyder fan base.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say they do have a pretty toxic fan base. Like, I wouldn't say it's like toxic. It's still toxic, but not awful like Star Wars. And it says, describe Holland as Iron Man Jr. Just kidding. The first one, he's not as much. I would maybe say like Far From Home, maybe a little bit. And I'm gonna plug something real quick. I do have a Last Jedi rewrite video, chat. that I made, and go check that out as part of the rewrite contest, which technically I won because I actually released it on time.
Nobody else released theirs on time.
No, well, Ninjoid was going to release his, but then his got like copyright claimed, and I believe Sour didn't even release his at all. So I mean, technically, I won the moral victory.
Gotcha.
So yeah, go check that out. Hopefully, we'll have hopefully, the judges will actually. Let's hope that it actually happens instead of it being pointless.
Yep.
And man, so the new Crash Bandicoot game just came out, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
I don't think anybody did. I think everybody just forgot.
Yeah, it's possible because I didn't know it was coming out.
Also, the new Star Wars game just came out today.
That I know. That I definitely know.
And I am not getting it.
Neither am I. I have to play like a demo first or see someone play first to know if it's going to give me a headache or anything like that before I can buy it. So
I'm just not into those types of games, to tell you the truth.
Just the flying spaceship games?
Well, I like certain ones, but I don't like it's like more like the first person type ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at that point I might as well just play a first person shooter.
Yeah, I understand.
Andrew says, when I see Tom Holland, I see Spider-Boy, Garfield, Teenager, Spider-Man. When I see Tobey Maguire, I see Spider-Man from the comics.
I guess.
Yeah,
to each his own. Like, I mean, Garfield was good. He's not my favorite. I still go with Tobey Maguire, for me. But that's just me.
Yeah, I would probably say, I don't know, because like again, I'm like, you know how Ninjoid is with Star Wars. I'm basically like that with Spider-Man, and like, except I will trash Spider-Man when I have to, especially Spider-Man 3, which is the worst movie of all time.
Yes.
And like, I understand when people say, "Oh, it's a guilty pleasure." I'm like, no, it is not a guilty pleasure.
No, at all.
I want it. First of all, every time I see Spider-Man 3, it's like I get annoyed because the writing, it's like it was written for them. And it's like, nope, let's do this. I'm like, why would you do that? No, don't do that, please.
I agree.
Why'd you hurt my boy Toby like that? Why did he have to do that?
I agree.
I also trash on the comics too because the Marvel comics have gotten bad.
Yes.
And I have, first and foremost, I've always bashed. Like, there are storylines with Spider-Man that are just awful. Like, the Clone Saga, for example, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Also, I did not like One More Day. A Brand New Day. The final chapter. Dude, there's so many. Which is actually kind of another thing I want to plug. Shadow Eye returns on Sunday, everybody. 8 o'clock, where we will be discussing our top 5 worst Spider-Man storylines in the comics.
Nice.
Andrew says, James Bond ranking, Sean Connery, Pierce Bronson, Daniel Craig, Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, George Lazenby.
Sean Connery. I would put Roger Moore before Daniel Craig, but other than that, yeah, I can agree with that list.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But man, we kind of so yeah, so kind of just going back to the chat thing, because I kind of guess I kind of wrapped the whole chat thing up. I guess is that basically just my what you say, chat, pretty much, like, don't put in stupid stuff. Like, I guess, like, it's basically that analogy. You just think before you put in chat.
Basically, there's no reason to be toxic in the chats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no reason for that shit. If you're joking, you're joking. There's all jokes. Like, you guys see how we go at it on Storms Live. We joke around, but there's never any fucking personal shit there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I even in the chaos list where
Hmm.
everybody's just, especially Terrence, where he's like, if I had a football team, I'd implement a bunch of rules, and
Yeah. Hmm.
Dan, and then Danny would be like, Terrence is fucking cheating.
Yeah, exactly. It's all for jokes, you know what I mean? Like, we don't do anything to disrespect anybody, so you shouldn't be doing it in the chat, man. Especially,
Absolutely.
especially when all you guys are like all in everybody's chats, you're on everybody's stream and all that stuff. It makes no sense for that. So,
100% agree. Also, the Lakers and Heat are on again tonight.
like, I give a shit. Lakers are
Damn.
gonna win that series, so I
Yeah,
really
they,
couldn't
they
care.
are.
I thought you weren't a sports guy, though.
I do watch sports here and there, even though my teams are trash.
Which are?
So for football, this might get a bunch of laughter in the chat. I'm a Browns fan.
What?
Yep.
Why?
Listen, I'm from Cleveland. I've lived there, and
Okay.
yeah, our team's bad. I'll freely admit this.
Okay. Since you were from Cleveland, I'll give you that.
And basically, I'm not proud to admit it. There were a lot of times where I was like, "Oh God, is it
Hmm.
too late to switch teams?"
Well, it's never too late, but I always stick with my team, whether they're good or bad. So,
Yeah. Also for baseball, this again might get some laughter from everyone, but I'm an Indians fan. Or well, I guess they're not the Indians anymore though.
no, not anymore.
So we'll just call them the Cleveland team. And I was a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then those finals happened
Hmm.
where JR couldn't even pass the ball, and then I'm like, we're going downhill, aren't we?
Yep.
Can't even pass the ball.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's horrible.
And then like RDC World basically said it best in that video. I thought we were up. No, we weren't.
Hmm. Nope. But
God.
people make mistakes, and he's probably going to win another title this year because he's riding LeBron again. So,
Yeah, more than likely. And also, geez,
oh, trust me, I know.
just that's why I usually just stick with the wrestling. You know what I mean? Like it's genuinely it's bad over there too. Not gonna lie, sports just
Nope. Completely understand.
geez, that the whole wrestling man. Like I just love going back to the older stuff. It's always fun to laugh at and just like God, this was like back in like '98 and '99, and like I was watching WCW Nitro.
Hmm.
There was one episode of Nitro where there was no wrestling for like an hour,
Yeah.
and like they were replaying a promo from WCW Thunder the previous week. It was Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, and they were making like dad noises, and like Arn Anderson had like a bottle of water, and like he's like just like crumpling the water bottle, and like because like David, his son, Rick's son, like joined the NWO during that whole like NWO Red and Silver, whatever it was called,
Hmm.
and so basically, like Arn's like, yeah, maybe you should take a break, and then like, because I know you're broken about it. He's like, Rick's like, no, I just want the title from Hogan, and he's like,
Hmm.
no, you shouldn't do that. And then, like the NWO were getting upset for like, because like Flair was not selling anything the NWO were doing to him. Like he's just
Hmm.
like, no, I just want to win the title and just like rule wrestling. And like
Hmm.
Hogan, like they supposed to be the heel, like coming off as the baby face in his promo, like because like he's like, Flair doesn't even care about his son, and like Hogan's like, I do it for the money. And then he even said money as well. And I'm like, oh my God. It was so bad. And then they were giving like, well, it's been paid for by the New World Order. Like they did 3 of those in a row. And then they were doing this like road to spring break thing. And like Steiner, it was like Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell. They were driving the bus. They got pulled over, and then the police are like, you know what? Hey, why don't you do our jobs for us? And then Scott Steiner's like, do I get a hat? And then they're like, well, we'll give you a badge. And he's like, no, no, but seriously, I just want a hat. And
Yeah.
then so like they're stopping crimes, and then there's like this one in-ring segment that I can't stop laughing over. So Mean Gene Okerlund was doing a in-ring promo,
Mm-hmm.
and David Flair and Tori comes out. They're like, hey, I hate my, David's doing this heel promo. Then out comes Goldberg wearing the pants. I'm like, oh, okay, this is getting serious. And then Goldberg's like, listen, I respect your father for what he's done to the business. And then I'm like, oh my god, like this man had 173 wins. Like this man did not respect the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I respect your dad for what he did. Like, he's basically making it sound like David doesn't even know his own dad. And he's like, for what he's done to the business. And then he's like, you bet, like, because I know who your father is, I'm not going to beat you up. And then, like, David's, like, starts poking him. And then, like, Goldberg, like, grabs him. And then, Flair, so basically backstage, Flair doesn't even see what's going on. He just runs to the ring. And then this made me start laughing. It's where he, like, turns him around and he chops him like Ric Flair does. And then, like, Goldberg's basically no-selling it. Rick's checking on David, and Goldberg's like, fuck this. And he just, like, press slams him, just like Ric Flair does. And then, basically, Flair's flipping out. Goldberg's like, you lost your mind, Flair. And then Flair's like, the line, I am the line. And then he just like starts rolling on the ground. I'm like, oh my god, this rules.
Yeah, the back in the old days, that was the best wrestling.
Yeah, and then Nitro, then in 2000 happened, and I'm like, oh man, this is not good. Like Vince Russo showed up. He's like, listen, bro, look, we got to get some ideas, bro. Like, what can we do, bro? How about we reset everything and let's have the title change hands every 2 weeks? That's a good idea, bro.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Andrew's like, in MCU, what characters were done right and done wrong?
Well, Hulk was definitely done wrong.
That I agree with.
Who else would I say? Who was done right? Iron Man was done right. Captain America was done right. I think Black Widow was done right.
I think Black Panther was done right.
Oh, Black Panther was done right for sure. A lot of the villains I think were done wrong. Like, I don't know, I wasn't feeling Ronin or Malachi.
I would say Ultron was done wrong.
Oh, Ultron was definitely done wrong. That I agree with too.
You know what? I'm going to say this might be controversial, but I think Captain Marvel was done wrong.
Yeah, she was done wrong too.
Like, I'm sorry, I did not like that movie at all. Like, I would say it's not awful, but it's very mediocre.
It's in the bottom of my list for sure. For sure.
Like, is it the worst movie I've ever seen? No. But it's just like, it feels like a Phase 1 movie.
Yeah, it's not the worst MCU movie either, though.
No. God,
I still give that to Iron Man 3.
Ooh, Iron Man 3. I usually say Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I like Ant-Man and the Wasp a little bit better than Iron Man 3.
That's fair. Because I do agree. The thing is with Iron Man 3, the twist kind of ruins the film.
For me, absolutely. And then I find I was gonna say, and I find the villain. What's his name? Shit. Anyways, whoever the villain was, I didn't like him either.
Also, I was gonna say that, like, I'll give credit where credit is due with Iron Man 3. Like, they actually gave, like, the whole PTSD thing, and I'm like, this is actually kind of interesting because not a lot of superhero films really do this.
Yeah, but it's an Iron Man 3 movie, and he's in the suit for like 10 minutes. No.
Yeah, that I do agree with. That is something that was like, okay, that was kind of dumb. It's like Iron Man. I didn't come to see Robert Downey Jr. with a gun. If that was the case, I would just watch Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew, what would you guys think if MCU Spider-Man was Toby or Andrew? How would it turn out?
I don't know. To me, I don't really have as big an issue with Tom as other people do. So I'm fine with the way it is, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, if it was like Andrew Garfield, I mean, they would have to try and connect to the Amazing Spider-Man films, but like I don't know how they would be able to do that.
Yep,
Well,
I
now they're
agree.
basically going to be able to do that because now Electro is going to be in Spider-Man 3 or
Mm-hmm.
else somewhere, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still pulling for Craven, guys. I promise. I'm still being like, come on, let's do Craven. And then they're like, no, let's just do Electro. I'm like, why do we have to do Electro? I don't want to like Craven. Come on, that was like written for you guys.
Yeah, I think they want to try and do Craven, Electro right because, yeah, he didn't do so good, you know.
That I do agree with. The design was cool, but
Yeah,
yeah, he was not very good in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
but I give that to the writing more than him.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens.
and it's like Iron Man 3 is like Dark Knight Rises, not in suit for very long.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Dark Knight Rises either. So
That's fair. I mean, I know a lot of people like on my streams are like the Dark Knight is overrated, and I will say to a degree, yes.
hmm
But the film has so much going for it though that I can't really say it's overrated. Overrated. I would say it's overpraised.
Dark Knight Rises. I mean, the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Rob and them would say it's overrated. I don't say that. Like, I really like that movie. I think it's the best one. I also think it's because Heath Ledger did a great job in that. So
Absolutely. Like I don't think it's overrated. I would say it's overpraised.
yeah, you could say that.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not an overrated film. It's definitely a really great. It's like a great looking film. I like Joker. I think Two Face is an underrated villain.
Two Face was good too. It's just I think he should have had his own movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he should have his own movie.
Bale's Batman. I Batman from the Dark Knight. So I'm guessing he likes Batman more from the comics than Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins.
Yeah, I don't like Bale's Batman.
I don't like him either. I think he did a good job as Bruce Wayne, but as far as like Batman,
Mm-hmm.
not that great.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? What happened? Basically yesterday, I guess I got to say this again. The chat basically kind of got out of hand yesterday. Not like out of hand, but like just basically I gave like future reference at the start of this. Like, look, for anybody who's watching this, the chat needs to like cool off and like they need to start like acting like chat and not toxic people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I said. I personally, I'm. Oh, he was saying I like Bale's Batman and Batman Begins more because that was Batman from the comics.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. Yeah, but you know what I don't like about Batman Begins? His cowl makes it look like he's wearing a neck brace.
It does.
And that was my problem from like the older Batman films where like he like in order for him to like see what was happening, he had to turn his whole body
Mm-hmm.
when he should be able to move like his head.
Yep, I agree.
That's kind of why I like Affleck's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only is he awesome,
yeah,
he's just his costume is really well looking too. Like it was like the Batman Returns costume.
Mm-hmm. He had
CC,
everything.
what's going on?
He had everything connected to it, so I like that. You know.
Yeah, it was definitely a great looking costume, great looking action. Man, I that's why I can't wait for Snyder Cut because Affleck's going to be in it.
Yeah, me too.
Andrew said, "Did you think Jack Nicholson's Joker is comic book accurate, even though he killed Bruce's parents?"
The portrayal of him, absolutely.
Yeah, the portrayal was absolutely accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I actually thought that was actually kind of interesting that he did kill Bruce's parents. That was kind of like a retcon, but at the same time, it kind of worked in that movie.
It did. It did.
And Batman 1989 was such a good movie too.
Hmm.
And I'll even say this: I actually like the Christopher Reeve Superman films.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, three
Absolutely.
and four, on the other hand,
We're trash. I agree.
yeah, they were bad. I like Superman Returns wasn't even bad either.
I didn't like Superman Returns at all.
Really?
Yeah, no. I found it was boring.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
Hmm. You know, I liked Kevin Spacey as Lex. I even liked Brandon Routh as Superman because he reminded me of Clark Kent a lot. But I just thought the movie was a little boring.
That's fair. I can agree with that. And Andrew's like, who's Batman killed more, Keaton or Affleck?
It's definitely Affleck.
Yeah, it would be Affleck, even though basically Batman or Keaton's Batman basically placed a bomb on a guy and just flat out just smiled and watched the guy blow up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was. I think it was like in Batman Returns. Was like I think it was like towards the beginning where like he was fighting like the gang, and then like he plays like a
Oh,
bomb on
yes.
him, and then he can't
Yeah.
make that.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Batman usually doesn't kill, but when it comes to the movies, sometimes they try to go with a little bit more reality, which sometimes he's gonna kill. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay with that as well. I that's also kind of why I'm looking forward to Robert Pattinson's Batman. Like that, he's basically that Batman who just does not give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
He just is
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just gonna break your arm and all of that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Nicholas is like, can we do top 10 Batman? I don't know if I could really do a top 10. I could give you like my personal favorite.
Yeah. Were there even 10 Batmans?
I know there was 10 Batmans, but like if you're going by like worst to best in terms of like live action, I would maybe say like, I don't know which was worst. It was Clooney or I would say maybe if we're gonna go by worst Batman, I would probably say either Clooney or Kilmer.
I'd agree.
Because again, I think Clooney like was a better Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Kilmer, I didn't like him at all though.
Same here.
Like what? He's his lips, like his mouth was just like he was like it had that weird open part, and I'm like, what's going on here? Why does he look like that?
Yeah, I agree.
And their costumes look awful with the bat nipples and
Mm-hmm. Yep.
uh,
It did. It did. I'll just say my favorite Batmans is Ben Affleck um and Michael Keaton.
I would have to second that, but I would also say Kevin Conroy if we're gonna be technical.
Yeah, he's there too for sure. He's there too, but for me, it's those two are the top.
And absolutely, I think like Affleck had the physique, and like he just was like he was so underrated too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
no one gives him any of the credit that he should be getting.
you're right.
Like
You're
if
right.
he was put in everything in a better film, I think people would be more like, "Oh my god, like he's the best Batman."
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm hoping Snyder Cut makes some, people realize like, yeah, this guy is the wickedest Batman that they had right now. So
And Cece's like, "Batman Forever is a guilty pleasure of mine. I know it's dumb, but I love the shit out of it."
yeah, a few people do.
Yeah, it's a dumb movie. It's like it's one of those movies that you can turn your brain off to and just be like, "All right, this is kind of fun."
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Jason X, the greatest movie of all time,
Exactly.
and Blank Man, if you want to be technical.
Exactly. Jason X wasn't great, but the way he kills some of them, does some of his killings, it's like holy shit, wicked.
And it's Jason on a spaceship. I'm like, all right, this is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He like turns into a robot towards the end. I'm like, oh my god, of course they do this.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And man, So basically, the stream was originally about me talking about the chat. Then then the chat basically made us talk about Batman and superheroes and stuff, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I always like having Anzo on. He's always great.
Always pleasure to be on. Don't worry about that, bro. You know, you guys are doing your things, and I'm proud of you guys. So,
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
not a problem. I'm gonna have to head out though. It was great being on though, and I'll holler at you anytime you guys want to do another stream or you want me to come on. Just let me know.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too.
Peace.
All right. I'm gonna go for 10 more minutes. So if you guys want to put in the chat, what's up, EJ? So he's like, by the way, also random question. What is the first fan fiction you remember ever reading? For me, I think it was Power Rangers or the MCU Avengers. Okay. So if we're gonna go by the channel, I think it was the Barry and Kara fan fiction. It was pretty bad. Bunch of reading errors, but if we're gonna go by the first one I've ever read, again, it was another Flash and Supergirl fan fiction. It was random. It's called World's Finest Romance or whatever. It was like on fanfiction.net, but Wattpad is a bunch of hell. Best movie Batman voice, and to say I'm Batman. Well, I guess Bale, I suppose. He has that voice. Just had breakfast. Ooh, what did you have? I had Pop-Tart for breakfast. Val Kilmer wasn't terrible. Bruce Wayne, good chin, good Batman voice and suit. The Sonar suit was cool. The original one was bad. So, nipples. What is it with you and the Super Flash fanfics? I don't know. I'm being just like spread Nutella, nothing too special. Very nice. I'm being completely honest. I don't know. I don't know. Like first, like okay, I like the crossover with Supergirl, like the first one, and I'm actually gonna be completely honest. The musical episode was actually a guilty pleasure of mine, and just I like the chemistry between them both. I'm like, you know what? I want to see if anything went with this, and then I found a bunch of fanfics, and I'm like, oh my god, this is real. And I'm just like, and honestly, it's just a bunch of hell. You know what I mean? It's always really rough. Favorite Flash season and villain in Flash Dude. Okay, so if we're going by favorite Flash season, season one. I thought season one is probably the best Flash season ever. As far as favorite villain, I would say Reverse Flash. And as far as Flash Suit goes, I would say season four is Flash Suit because that was cool. Uh, to be fair, anything is better than the CW West Allen. That relationship fucking yes, it does blow. I will be completely honest. It does absolutely blow. It's so bad. It's so toxic. I hate it so much. So it's she gets mad at him for going to Speed Force save everybody. She doesn't care that his future daughter works with Dawn. Yeah, no, I hate that relationship. Facts. We are getting a Cobra Kai season 4. Interesting. Can't wait for that. I prefer Barry with Patty from season 2 or Caitlin. I prefer him with Caitlin and or Kara, depending on what everybody thinks of me, because I keep reading the Super Flash fan fiction. But let's not look past that. But I mean, though, like I like Patty though. Like I think Patty would work. There should be more fan fictions of that. People, I'm giving you guys ideas. Also, I'm giving people ideas of me to actually do a fan fiction of me and Jim's mom. I'm asking anybody who can make this. Can people make this a reality? Please. Favorite CW crossover. I'd probably say the first Arrow and Flash crossover because every crossover after that was okay or just bad. Like Uh, Note to self: write a Barry and Patty fanfiction. Yes, do that, please. Also, do you think Superman and Lois show can redeem Tyler Hoechlin Superman? Well, it's possible. So, Zach's like, hey, dude, everything okay? I would say everything's fine now. It's just I kind of wanted to talk about everything that was going on. Chris on Earth X was so awesome. I loved it. It was cool, and then the ending happened, and I'm like, oh, this is bad because Crisis on Earth X was a bad. I think the ending of Crisis on Earth X was bad because fucking Felicity. Oh god, this really. Oh shit. So basically, so the ending was so Barry and Iris like they were doing basically they were getting married and like John was officiating, and then Felicity, the entire crossover, she's like, "Look, I don't want to marry you, Oliver." She embarrasses him in front of everybody, and then towards the end, it was Felicity was like, "Fuck you, do you marry me?" I'm like, "Oh my god, of course." God's sake. So fuck. uh Christ on Infinite Earths was worse other than the cameos. Yeah, I would say that, yeah. By the way, also, I'm writing a Supergirl season 6 fan fiction where Kara and the team go to the future to help the Legion to fight Brainiac. Does that sound cool to you? Yes, it does. It sounds awesome. And yes, Carmel's involved. Thank God. Fuck you. Yep. Ned should be more like, fuck you, Iris. I hate her too. I loved Oliver and Barry's friendship in the Arrowverse. Yes. Oliver. No, I'm just kidding. Don't, please, no. I missed it already. Now we have Kara and Kate. Boo. Well, actually, technically, there is no Kate anymore because, she left. So I only saw the bit with Smallville, but that ending still sounds awful. Fuck both Iris and Felicity. Yes. Thank you. I'm not the only one. But Zach, to kind of basically saying this again, basically the chat did kind of get out of hand yesterday, so I kind of had to put in a little bit some guidelines of like what people can or can't do. So, just want to let everybody know that basically I'm setting rules and guidelines. Yes, better Flash actor. There was two. I like them both. I mean, Tom Cavanaugh was awesome. I'll just say Tom Cavanaugh because I think he's a great actor. They definitely looked great in the suit. Also, guys, I'm giving you guys the last couple minutes to do all this. So, Kate just got booted off the CW. That bitch. Yes, she did. Oh God, Batwoman. Oh God, it was so bad. By the way, Super Bat is now a canon ship, thus confirming people can make ships out of thin air. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh God. Did you hear what happened with Hartley Sawyer on The Flash? Yes, I did. And I think that was a terrible decision on their part. Hashtag justice for Hartley. And also, guys, like I said before, I did this Last Jedi rewrite video. It's basically me talking over slides, but hey, I think overall it's pretty fun. Absolutely loved it. Oh man, chat again. You guys were awesome today. You guys are definitely better than what happened yesterday. Again, we're doing a show on Sunday called Shadow Eye, where we're going to be talking about our top 5 least favorite Spider-Man storylines. I might get Anzo in there because he's read the comic, so might do that. The CW hates men, especially if it's a female-led show. Yeah, exactly, like Batwoman, where they just did my man Batman dirty. Do you like John Wesley Shipp as Barry's father, Jay Garrick, or '90s Flash? I just like him. I like him as all because I think John Wesley Shipp is great. Looked great as a Jay Garrick costume and all of that. But yeah, peeps, I think we're gonna basically now Hush is Bruce Wayne, get out of here. Yeah, that was dumb. I didn't like that twist because again, they of course had to do something bad and stupid to basically kill any of Batman's credibility. So yeah, fuck, fuck Batwoman. But anyway, guys, I am definitely going to head out here. CW ruined Superman, Batman 2, DC's biggest heroes. Yes, they did. Fuck them. But yes, guys, I am gonna wrap this up here. We went an hour. I want to thank Anzo for coming in. I want to thank everybody in chat, CC, Andrew, Zach, Nicholas, EJ. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank heavens for Robert Pattinson. Yes, thank God for him. I want to thank everybody for watching. You guys find me on Twitter at the Austin17. Just for Batman. Yes, just for Batman. Discord at the Austinator, and oh, I wish we had more time. I mean, I could go. I could go a few more minutes. I could go like for 15. Is there anything you guys want me to specifically do? I mean, I could continue the fan fiction that I read yesterday. We didn't even really finish the first chapter. Oh, we got. Yes, we do. Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. You guys are right. But I could always go. I could always go 10 more minutes. Pattinson will make Batman better. Yeah, I hope so. Fanfic. Okay. All right. We're gonna do fanfic. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? I will be happy to do this. I will definitely read it because first of all, it's definitely a oh god. Okay. So let's see here. I have to figure out now where I left off. Sounds cool. Yeah. All right, by all means. Yes, it's I'm going to invite so let's see here. Before we continue the fanfic, when did the CW Arrows go to crap and when was it amazing? Well, the Arrowverse kind of went to crap at season 4 and it was amazing basically at the beginning and then after that it became bad. Um let's see. Let's maximize my screen here. Let's see where I left off. Uh let's see here. Let's go down here. Uh Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think because I remember we got to where she was eating the burger, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's do this. Okay. Kara nodded and took a bite. Her eyes widened and she smiled. This is good, she said as she smiled at Caitlin. Told you, Caitlin said. After they finished eating, Kara began to tear up and sob into her hands. Hey, Kara, are you okay? Barry asked with concern. I'm I'm trying to be strong for my mother and my family, but I can't. I just miss them so much. Hey, Kara, it's okay to let your emotions out because bottling them up will only hurt more, Caitlin said as she stroked Kara's hair. Kara, it's okay to be sad. No one expects you to be fine after what you've been through. After my mother died, I bottled up my emotions because I thought I was being strong. Instead, I was being reckless. But just remember, it will get better. Your mother saved you for a reason, for you to live your life and move forwards, Barry said as he wiped her tears away with his thumb. I know you aren't my daughter, but I will treat you as if you were, Barry said, smiling at Kara. Thank you, Barry, and you too, Caitlin, Kara said, smiling at them both. No problem, Kara, Caitlin said. Come on, let's get you a change of clothes and then we can go home, yeah? Barry said, smiling at Kara. Kara wiped away the remaining tears and nodded. Barry held out his hand and Kara grabbed it and hopped off the bed and began to walk with them. As they were leaving the med bay, Barry turned his head to look at Caitlin and she gave him a nod that said, Go ahead, I'll see you tomorrow. He gave her a grateful smile and walked out the med bay with Kara. Caitlin smiled at the two and could already sense the father-daughter bond between them. Okay. Can we please figure this? So it feels like it's a rush thing. But fake Barry, I was like, yes, that is me too. I'm currently on Supergirl season 4, and I'm bored because I don't give a fuck about the whole political plot, the xenophobia, the aliens is annoying. I don't give a single shit about Kara's reporter. Yeah, that's well. I mean, I thought season 4 was probably the better one, but yeah, it was not that great. But yeah, can we let's talk about this chapter. First of all, it feels rushed. I'm not gonna lie, very very rushed. Like they already have this father daughter bond. I'm like, really? We're really gonna go there already? Like the fact that Barry's already stating this stuff is like, what? Oh my God. So it's very it feels a very rushed and there's a lot of grammatical problems. He's fine as Lex, but everything else, God. And what the fuck is that pacing in the fic? I don't know. I don't know. The pacing's so horrible. That's basically one of the things I don't like about this. We're already in chapter one, and it's bad. All right. So chapter two. Let's see if the pacing gets better. Probably not. Helping Kara, chapter two. As the two entered Barry's apartment, Barry led Kara to the spare bedroom. This is your room, and I'll be decorating it soon, so you can choose the color and the bed you want, Barry said, smiling down at Kara. Thanks, Barry, Kara said. You're welcome, Kara. Now go get changed. Dinner will be ready in a few minutes. What the fuck? Okay, Barry said as Kara excited. Why is she being excited? Her planet just blew up. People, come on. Very excited ran into her new room. Barry chuckled at the sight and began to make dinner for them both. As he was speeding around the kitchen making dinner, Kara came into the kitchen. Can all humans do that? Kara asked curiously. Nope, I'm special, Barry said proudly, which earned a chuckle from Kara. Can I help? Kara asked, wanting to make herself useful. Can you set the table, please? Barry asked. Sure, Kara nodded and began setting the table. Once she was done, Barry set down a pot full of pasta. Didn't know he was making pasta. On the dinner table. Are you sure the two of us can finish all of this? Kara asked lightly, giggling at the amount of food. Well, I have to eat a lot in order to keep my sugar levels high, Barry replied. Oh, okay. Fucking okay, Kara said. Once they were finished eating and Barry finished cleaning the dishes, they sat on the couch and out in a movie. Oh, they were in a movie? Holy shit. Halfway through the movie, Barry looked down at his side and saw Kara snuggled up into his side and snoring lightly. He chuckled a bit and gently lifted her up and placed her softly in her bed. He smiled and kissed her forehead. Good night, Kara, Barry said as he smiled and walked out of her room. Once he was in bed, it didn't take long for him to fall asleep, but he was awoken when he heard crying coming from Kara's room. He sped there and saw Kara tossing and turning in her sleep, so gently shook her awake. Kara, sweetie, you're having a nightmare. Wake up, Barry said. She shot up with tears in her eyes and tightly hugged Barry and soaked his shoulder in tears as Barry hugged back. I saw Krypton get destroyed again and again, Kara said in between sobs. Barry rubbed her back in an attempt to comfort her. It's okay. I am right here. It's okay, he said, kissing the top of her head. Can you stay with me, please? I don't want to be alone, Kara said, pulling away from the hug. Of course, he said with a smile. She laid her head back down, but after a few tries, she couldn't fall asleep. Barry, she asked. Yeah, sweetie, I'm right here, he said, smiling at her. I can't sleep, she said with a quivering lip. So he picked her up and placed her in his bed under the covers and began to singing softly to her. Ah, fuck. Come on. I don't want to sing this. I don't want to do this, please. I don't want to. Hold on, I don't want to. Guys, do I have to sing this? I really don't want to sing this, guys. I don't. I'll just say it. I'll say it in this monotone voice because I'm going to do this at a protest. Can't say how the days will unfold. Can't change what the future may hold. But I want you in it every hour, every minute. This world can race by far too fast. Hard to see while it's all flying past, he sang softly as he brushed some loose hair from her face. She smiled at him and closed her eyes. Good night, Barry, she said. Once he heard her lights, once he heard her, once he heard her light snore. What? Oh, okay. Once he heard her light snoring again, he climbed into bed beside her, kissed her forehead, and fell asleep. Uh, do it, fucking do it. Ninjoid's in the house. What's up, Ninjoid? Jesus Christ, fucking coming home to you? Yes. Yes, it was. Was indeed. Oh, God. Okay, so first of all, that made no sense in the grand scheme of things. Like, I genuinely have no idea what's going on in this entire fic. So basically, she's already moved it. Why? This, like, the pacing is so bad. I'm not. Who's this ship for? Well, it's like a Snowberry fan fiction, but like cars involved and like they adopt her and such. I'm like, already, this makes no sense. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Oh my God. It's. Oh, oh, it's so fucked, man. I'm telling you, it's bad. Really bad. Uh, God, all right. God, I'm coughing. It's this is already telling me to stop doing it, but I gotta keep going. Bonding, chapter three. As Barry woke, he saw Carr still fast asleep at his side, so he tried to slip out of the bed without waking her up until he fell out of the bed and landed straight on his ass. Ouch, he said, as he was getting up as he saw Carr giggling at him. Morning, Barry, she said, still trying to contain some laughter. Well, it seems like in a good mood after seeing her planet get destroyed. Morning, Carr. Did you sleep well last night? Barry asked, sitting on the bed next to Kara. Yup, because you stayed with me, Kara said as she hugged Barry's side. No pro- No problem, sweetie, Barry said as he hugged back. First of all, you're not Barry, I swear to God. Barry pulled away from the hug as his phone began to ring. Kara began to cover her ears in pain as Barry shut his phone off quickly, seeing as how the sound was causing Kara pain. Oh God, Kara, sweetie, what's wrong? Barry asked and considered. Stop! Oh, that noise is so loud, Kara said, wincing a bit. Why can't I see your skeleton? She asked, clearly terrified. Hey, Kara, just close your eyes and slow your breathing. Kara nodded and did what Barry suggested. Now, slowly open your eyes, Barry said. Kara nodded, was still scared, but she trusted Barry, even though she had only known him for a day. Oh God. She slowly opened her eyes and everything was back to normal. She smiled and hugged Barry tightly. Barry smiled and hugged back. You okay? Barry asked. Now I am. Thank you, Barry, Carr said into his chest. Barry smiled and pulled away from the hug to call the person back while Carr got ready. Hey, Bear, Joe said. Oh, hey, Joe, Barry said. You better get your ass down to this crime scene now, Joe said. Barry mentally face palmed as he was late yet again. Okay, I'll be there in a second, Barry said. Okay, see you soon, Joe said. As he hung up, Carr came out of her room. Hey, Carr, there's pancakes in the fridge. I might have to leave early because I have to go to work, Barry said. Okay, Carr said, frowning. But I'll take you to Caitlin's house so you won't be lonely, Barry said. Okay, she said, still kind of sad about Barry leaving. Barry noticed this and walked over to her and hugged her. Why is there so many hugging in this? It's okay. I'll be back before you know it, okay? Barry said, smiling at Carr, who was now hugging him tightly. Why? Okay, she said, now smiling. Hang on tight, he said as he bent down and Carr hopped on his back. He raced over to Caitlin's house and knocked as Carr hopped off his back but still held on to his hand. Hey, Bear, Caitlin said, opening the door. He saw Caitlin at the door in a tank top and short shorts. She had just clearly woken up a few minutes ago, and he found himself staring at her. Earth to Barry, Caitlin said, waving her hand in his face while Carl was silently giggling at their interaction. Oh, right. Sorry. I got called into a crime scene. I got called to a crime scene, and I was wondering if you could look after Carl while I'm out, Barry asked, trying not to look at her. Sure, she said. Hi, Caitlin, Cara said, still holding Barry's hand. Hey, Cara. Car Eatlin said, open, opening the door wider. Hey, it's okay. You can trust her, Barry said, looking down at Kara. I know. It's just, Kara said, trailing off. Just, Barry said, I'm gonna. I'm gonna miss you, Kara admitted, looking down at her shoes. Barry smiled and enveloped her in a hug. Which stop hugging, when she hugged back. It's okay, sweetie. I'll be back in a few hours. Stop, he said, not wanting to leave Kara's side. Kara nodded and smiled at Caitlin. Come on in and make yourself at home, Caitlin said, moving out of the way a bit. Caitlin said. Kara nodded and walked in as Barry and Caitlin stayed at the doorway. You two really have quite the bond, even though you've only had each other for a day. Oh, each other for a day. Caitlin said, smiling at Kara, then facing Barry. Yeah, I just feel really protective of her because of her past. Despite that, she is the sweet. How do you know this? Like, she could be evil for all we know. I know she's not, but she could be. She is the sweetest person I know, Barry said while Caitlin smiled and nodded. I'll be by in a few hours to pick her up, Barry said. Okay, she said. Barry smiled and waved at Kara before speeding off to the crime scene. So, Kara, what do you want to do today? Caitlin asked, sitting down next to Kara. Kara just shrugged her shoulders and played with her fingers. How about I take you to Star Labs and we can fix your X-ray vision problem. How does she know about X-ray vision? What? Oh my God. How do you know about that? Kara asked. Barry texted me seeing if I could help you, Caitlin said, rubbing Kara's back as Kara smiled at her and nodded. Okay, she said, still smiling. Great, now I'll have to get ready and then we'll head out. Caitlin said as Kara nodded. A few minutes later, Caitlin came out of the bathroom ready for work. Kara, let's go, Caitlin said, holding out her hand, which Kara took. Caitlin figured a little walk wouldn't hurt, so she and Kara walked to Star Labs and just talked and sung their way there. Okay. As they entered the cortex itself, Cisco freaking out because the pod girl had escaped. Oh, hey, Caitlin, he said. Hey, Cisco, this is Kara, Caitlin said, smiling down at Kara. Hey, Kara, nice to meet you. My name is Cisco. Cisco cut himself off. You're the pod girl that Barry found, Cisco said, and Kara nodded. Wait, are you an alien? Cisco asked, which Kara nodded again. That is awesome, Cisco said, and began asking Kara a million questions. Kara found this amusing until he asked the question. What planet are you from? Cisco asked Caitlin, squeezed Kara's hand to try and comfort her. My planet Krypton was destroyed, Kara admitted, letting a few tears slip out. Cisco immediately felt bad and put his hand on her shoulder and apologized. Sorry, Kara, I didn't mean to upset you, Cisco said. It's okay, Kara said, wiping her tears. Cisco, I was wondering if you could make something to help with her X-ray vision, Caitlin finally spoke up. Wait, you have X-ray vision? That's so awesome. Not the time, Cisco corrected himself after seeing the look from Caitlin. Okay, let's get started, Cisco said, walking over at his lab. Meanwhile, at the CCPD, Barry walked into the precinct late again. Hey, Bear, glad you could finally show up, Joe joked, which just earned a smile from Barry. Oh, hey, Barry, Cecile said, peeking from behind Joe. Oh, Cecile, perfect. I need your help, he said. With what? She asked curiously, which Joe shared. I need your help adopting someone. Barry admitted both Joe and Cecile's were shocked. What? Really, Bear? Are you sure? Joe asked Barry worriedly. Yeah, I am, Barry said, smiling. Really? Who is it? Cecile asked, also smiling. Well, her name is Kara, and she has lost her whole family. Despite that, she has the biggest heart and is the sweetest person you'll ever meet, Barry said. Well, damn, Bear, but whatever decision you make, just know that I'm going to be there to support you, Joe said, rubbing one of Barry's shoulders. Thanks, Joe. It means a lot, Barry said. Well, I'll see what I can do, Cecile said, smiling. Thank you too, Cecile. That means a lot to me, Barry said. No problem, Cecile said. A few hours went by, and Barry was in his lab processing some evidence when he heard a knock at the door. He turned around and his face lit up with joy as Kara ran into his arms. Hey, Kara. Hey, Caitlin, Barry said, smiling like an idiot. Hey, Bear, Caitlin said, smiling at the two. Hey, Barry, I missed you, Kara said into his chest. I missed you. God, I really don't. I missed you too, sweetie, Barry said as he kissed the top of her head. I like your glasses, by the way. I didn't even know she was wearing glasses, Barry said, looking at her. Yeah, Cisco made them for me, she said, smiling. Really? You met Cisco? Barry said, smiling at her, then to Caitlin. Yeah, he helped me build a pair of glasses lined with lead to prevent Kara from seeing through things, Caitlin said while Kara nodded, and Barry smiled at his future daughter. That's great, Barry said, ruffling Kara's hair a bit. Hey, Barry, you finished processing evidence from the crime scene earlier? Joe said as he walked into Barry's lab. Yeah, here. He said, handing Joe a plastic bag. Oh, hey, Caitlin, Joe said. Bear, who's that? Joe said, pointing at Kara, who was sitting in a spinning chair and looking at the roof. Oh, Joe, this is Kara, he said as he walked over to Kara. Kara, this is Joe, my adopted father, Barry said. Hi, Joe, nice to meet you, Kara said politely from the chair. Ah, you're the car that Barry doesn't shut up about, Joe said, laughing while Barry scratched the back of his neck and Caitlin and Kara were giggling to themselves. Yup, that's me, she said. Joe was laughing until he got called back downstairs. Well, I gotta go. See you guys later, Joe said, picking up the bag of evidence. Bye, Joe. Barry, Caitlin, and Kara said in unison, which earned an amused look from Joe. Anyway, why don't we go to Jitters and get some lunch? Barry suggested. And Caitlin agreed. What's a Jitters? Kara asked. Come on, we'll show you, Caitlin said as Kara nodded. She got up off of the chair and held Barry and Caitlin's hand as they left the precinct. Once they arrived at Jitters, they found a table, and Barry went to order the drinks and food. Hey, Caitlin, can I ask you a question? Kara asked. Yeah, go ahead, Caitlin said. Do you like Barry as in more than a friend? Kara asked her. Caitlin was a bit flustered and embarrassed that a 12-year-old girl can spot her crush on Barry. What? No, Caitlin said with a red face. I may be a 12-year-old girl, but I can see the way that you two look at each other, Kara said. Okay, fine. Maybe I have a slight crush in Barry, Caitlin admitted. Hey, guys, what are you talking about? Barry said, coming to the table with their drinks and sitting down next to Caitlin. Nothing, just girl stuff, Caitlin said, trying to be smooth while Kara was laughing. Okay, Barry said. 2 flashes for me and Caitlin and a hot chocolate for Kara, Barry said, passing out their drinks. The three sat there and talked and laughed with each other for God knows how long until Caitlin yawned and rested their head on Barry's shoulder. I guess someone's tired, Barry said, smiling down at her. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head home now, Caitlin said, getting up from her chair, picking up a bag. Bye, Caitlin, Kara said as she hugged Caitlin. Bye, Kate, Barry said as he stood up. Bye, guys. Oh, Barry, can you please speed me home? I left my car. Of course, Caitlin said. Sure, Kara, sweetie, can you please wait here for a few seconds while I take Caitlin home? Barry said. Okay, can please not take too long? Kara said, looking down at her shoes. Sure thing, Barry said, kissing the top of her head. Let's go, Barry said as he picked up Caitlin bridal style, which Caitlin squealed a bit, and Barry and Kara laughed a bit. Barry sped away with Caitlin while Kara waited and sat on a bench, waiting for a bit. A few seconds later, Barry returned and sat next to Kara, ready to go. Barry asked, but Kara was just staring at the sky, which was a bit of an orange color because of the sunset. Kara, Barry asked a little bit louder, which got her attention. Oh, sorry, just the sky is so pretty, she said, still looking at the sky. He picked up Kara and sped them both to the highest building in Central City. Whoa, Kara said as she looked at the sunset, and Barry stood beside her, also admiring the sunset. It's beautiful, isn't it? Barry said, yeah, Kara said, not breaking her gaze from the sunset. Once it was gone, Barry sped them both back to his apartment. Once they were settled on the couch watching a movie, Kara asked the question. Hey, Barry, she said, looking up at him. Yeah. Do you like Caitlin as in more than a friend? She asked. Barry was a bit flustered and embarrassed that a 12-year-old girl could see his crush on Caitlin. What? No, Barry said with a bit of a red face. Kara smiled at his similar reaction to Caitlin's when she asked her. Okay, fine, I have a slight crush on her, Barry admitted as Kara mentally high-fived herself. But this question stays between us, all right? Barry said. I don't know about that, Kara said as she smirked and reached for his phone. Oh, no, you don't, he said as he started to tickle Kara, and she eventually gave up due to not being able to be tickled. It was her kryptonite. Oh God. Okay, fine. I won't tell anyone. Just please stop tickling me, she said in between laughs, and Barry stopped and laughed along with her. Come on, you get some sleep, Barry said. Okay, she said, standing up, walking to her room. Once she settled into her bed, and Barry kissed her forehead. Good night, Barry, she said. Good night, Kara. Don't be scared to wake me up if you have another nightmare, okay? Barry said. Okay, she said. And with that, Barry turned the light off and went to bed. While he was in bed, he got a message from Joe saying the adoption process is nearly finished. Cecile just needs you to come by the house tomorrow for your signature, and then it will be official. Thanks, Joe. You have no idea how much this means to me. No problem, Bear. Bear shut off his phone and fell asleep, knowing that Kara was going to become his daughter in a few hours. Oh God, God, this fuck. Oh shit. Oh my God. We're 3 chapters in, and there actually hasn't been any Snowberry romance. I'm not even a fan of this ship, and this is bullshit. Yes. Wait, adopted her as a daughter. Oh God, picturing that. What the fuck? How does this make any sense? Yeah, Sienna, go check out. Why is Barry calling Kara sweetie? I don't know. Wait, adopted her as a daughter. Oh God, picturing that. Jeez, I will. What the fuck is happening? Pod Girl, are you kidding me? Who wrote this? Why is Barry calling Car sweetie? I don't know. Fan fiction can sure break the fourth wall, can they? Fucking hell. Yeah. Oh God, are they getting planned to get married? No, they're not. They're not getting married, guys. I read this multiple times. I promise. Nothing happens. Oh, here comes the ship. What world am I living in? I don't know. The fucking bizarre world. Yep. I could write better fanfics than this in my sleep, and my fanfics are amateur at best. That's probably true. Wait, adopted her as a daughter. Oh God, picturing that. I know. Why is Barry calling Scar sweetie? I don't know, people. I promise. I don't know. I don't know. I swear to God, I don't know. This is like the one thing where I truthfully don't know. It's so god bad. It's really bad. It's oh man, I don't like it. Oh, man. Oh boy, I'm sorry. This is so bad. It's bad. It's bad. Oh God. Oh. Jeez. Okay. All right. Next chapter. God's sake. Oh, adoption. Well, there's your chapter 4, ladies and gentlemen. If you met, they basically spoiled it for you. Isn't Kara an adult? No, she's like I think she's like a teen. I don't even know how old she is in this fic. This is why I recommended like 20 caramel fanfics because at least half of them are better than this bullshit. I would not doubt that. I would not doubt that at all. Oh God. Okay. Adoption. Chapter 4. Barry woke up to the smell of pancakes and bacon and slowly climbed out of her bed and saw Barry speeding around the kitchen while listening to music. She saw this and tried her hardest not to laugh, but ultimately failed and burst out laughing. Barry turned around and saw Carl laughing. He was a bit embarrassed, but started laughing along with her. Once the laughter died down a bit, they started eating their food. Hey, Carl, we need to go to Joe's house for something important, Barry said, barely able to contain his excitement. Okay, and you'll be able to meet my foster sister, Iris. You'll love her, Barry said. Carr noticed his excitement and found it amusing, and just assumed it was because he was seeing Joe. Once they were done, Barry and Carr went to go get ready. Carr, you ready to go? Barry said. Yeah, I just can't tie these laces, she said, frowning. Don't worry, sweetie, Barry said, kneeling down and tying her laces. Thanks, Dad. Barry, she said, quickly correcting herself. No problem. Now let's go. Barry said, pretending not to hear Carr's dear slip up, which made him feel like a kid on Christmas morning. What? She hopped on his back and sped them there. Once they arrived, he knocked on the door and Iris answered. Hey, Bear, she said from the door. Hey, Iris, this is Kara, and Kara, this is Iris, Barry said. Hi, Kara said a bit shyly. Hey, you must be Kara, Iris said, looking at Barry with a smile because now she knew why they were here. Hey, come on in. Dad and Cecile are waiting for you, she said. Thanks, Barry said as he walked in with Kara, who was holding his hand. Hey, Joe. Hey, Cecile, Barry said, putting his coat on the hanger. Hey, Bear, Joe said excitedly from his chair. Hey, Barry, Cecile said, sharing Joe's excitement. Dude, this fucking fanfic sucks. Hey, Cara, sweetie, why don't you go talk with Iris for a bit while me, Joe, and Cecile have a talk, okay? Barry said. Okay, she said a bit nervously. Barry knelt down and hugged her. God, stop with the huggings. Okay, it's okay, Cara. You can trust her, Barry said and smiled warmly at her. Iris saw this from her spot and smiled at the father-daughter bond that was soon going to be official. Okay, she said and walked over to Iris, who had a big book in her lap. What's that? She said as she pointed to the book on Iris's lap. This is a photo album full of photos from when Barry was younger, Iris said, and Kara ran over and sat next to her. The two were looking through the photos and laughing. Barry loved seeing Iris get along with Kara. Ready, Barry? Cecile said as she handed the papers to Barry. Yeah, Barry said as he signed every form he needed. Once he was finished signing the papers, Cecile made a phone call, and once that ended, she smiled over at Barry and Joe. It's official. You're her legal father and guardian, she said with a massive smile. Barry walked over and hugged it with happiness, tears brimming his eyes. Thank you so much, Barry said as he pulled away from the hug. Oh my God, there's so many hugs. It's ridiculous. Barry looked at Joe, who nodded then to Iris, who nodded as well. So Barry walked over to the two and knelt in front of Carl, who was busy looking at the album. So he tapped her head and she looked up at him and saw the tears in his eyes. Are you all right? Carl asked with concern as she flipped the book close. I'm better than all right, Barry said as he smiled at her. Then why are you crying? She said, looking at him. But Iris took this as her chance to give them some privacy. Well, he said he God! Well, he says he handed the papers to Kara as she read through them. You could see tears forming in her eyes. She looked up at him and a massive smile grew across her face. You adopted me? Kara said, still smiling and crying. Why is she crying? God, there's so much crying in the hugs. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Barry said, also smiling. Stop crying, smiling and crying. Cecile, Joe, and Iris saw this and they teared up a little. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She said, why? God, stop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She said she hugged him tightly and cried to his chest. No problem. Stop. No problem, sweetie, he said, rubbing her back. It's only 4 chapters in. Once they pulled away, Barry smiled and said, I heard you nearly call me dad back in our apartment, Barry said, still smiling. I'm sorry, it just slipped out, she said, looking down at her fingers. Hey, it's okay. You can I swear to God, we're 3 to 4 chapters in. Uh, It's okay. You can call me dad if you want. I said, wiping tears away from her cheeks. She smiled at him and hugged him tightly again. I love you. Stop hugging. Stop, please. Come on. Stop crying and hugging. I love you. Oh, God. I love you, Dad. She said into his chest. Hearing those words made Barry tear from, oh my God. Stop tearing up. Tear up even more as he kissed the top of her head. I love you too, Kara, he said, hugging her just as tightly. By now, Iris and Cecile were in full on tears. Stop crying, everybody. Please. And Joe was trying not to cry. Just don't cry. Was he pulled away and dried their tears? He stood up, and Iris, Cecile, and Joe came over to them. Car quickly pulled. Stop with the hugs for me. They hugged multiple times in the span of 5 seconds. The hug as well. Thank you so much, said as she hugged Cecile. No problem, honey, Cecile said as she rubbed Cara's back. Can I call you Grandpa Joe? Cara asked as she pulled away and wiped her tears. Stop crying, though. Come on. He always wanted grandkids. Of course, he doesn't want to be. No, stop. Of course, stop. Of course you can, kiddo. Joe said as he rubbed her head. Thank you too, Grandma Cecile. Cara said as she hugged Cecile again. Grandma Cecile makes me sound old. You can call me Mama Cecile. She said, looking at Cara, who nodded. Then she hugged Iris. Thank you too, Auntie Iris. She said it to Iris' shoulder. She smiled at Cara and kissed the top of her head. Anytime, hon. Iris said, fuck's sake. Iris said as she smiled at her. But that BT full moment between family was interrupted by Barry's phone going off. Hey, Cisco, what's up? Barry said. Armored car heist, Cisco said. All right, I'll be there in a few seconds, Barry said as he hung up. Sorry, guys, I have to go. Armored car heist, Barry said. Can you take me to Star Labs with Cisco and Kalen? I want to tell them. Carr said excitedly. Barry chuckled. Sure, Barry said. With that, Barry sped them both to Star Labs. Hey, Carr, Cisco said. Hi, Cisco. Hi, Catelyn, she said, walking in as Barry sped into his suit and left to stop crying. Hi, Carr, Caitlin said. Carr pulled up a chair and sat in between Caitlin and Cisco. She heard over the comms gunshots and a few grunts. Carr activated the comms. Dad, are you okay? She said into the mic, and Caitlin and Cisco shared the same confused expression. I'm okay, sweetie, Barry said as he chuckled slightly into his comms. He sped the criminals to Iron Heights and returned to the Cortex. As soon as Barry walked in, Carr ran over and hugged him, and Barry hugged her back. Be more careful, Dad, she said, pulling away from the hug. And Barry smiled and nodded at her. Okay, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Why does she keep calling you dad? Cisco said, well, I adopted her a few minutes ago. Bear said Pelly while Carr smiled. Really? Congrats, Cisco said as he high-fived them both and Kayla hugged them both. Well, we should be getting home, Barry said. Okay, see you guys later, Cisco said. With that, they sped out back to Barry's apartment. Once they entered, Carr saw a big cake on the dining room table and a few presents. What's all this? Carr asked. Well, since today is the day I adopted you, I thought it could also be your birthday as well. Well, I mean, technically, oh God, Barry said. Really? Carr said excitedly. Yeah, Barry said. They sat down, ate cake, and laughed a bit. When it came to present, there was one from himself, Cisco. What? How did this all happen in the span? I don't know. There was one from himself, Cisco, Caitlin, Iris, Cecile, and Joe. She opened them up one by one, and when it came to Barry's present, she opened it and teared up instantly. It was a necklace with the House of L symbol on it. What? Okay. I found it in your pod. I figure Barry was cut off by Carr running into his arms and hugging him tightly. I love it. Thank you, Carr said into his chest. No problem, sweetie, Barry said. Then they sat on the couch and watched The Wizard of Oz because it was Carr's favorite movie. What? They never explained this. Once the movie ended, Barry noticed Carr was asleep, snuggled into his side. He picked her up and softly placed her in her bed and kissed her forehead. Good night, Carr, Barry said, smiling. Good night, Dad, she said, half asleep. It melted Barry's heart every time she called him Dad. He turned the light off and went to sleep with a smile on his face. Oh my God. Fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. God. How long is this fic again? I don't know. It's a bunch of chapters. Stop with the fucking tears and hugs. And yes, BFF's here. What's up, BFF? Dad, God, no. This is madness. Oh, God. BFF is here. Stop with the fucking tears and hugs. Who comes up with this stuff? No one with a brain, that's for sure. That's not how fucking birthdays work. Stop with the sweetie thing. It's fucking weird. Okay, Fatback, I'm gonna need to never use the term daddy ever again. Never fucking again. Oh my God. Wait, how many chapters? I know that. Fuck, I don't even know what chapter we're on. Like, is that a bad thing? Like, 1, 2. We're on chapter 5, and oh God. People, I apologize. I'm appalled. This is like the most appalling thing I've ever done. Fucking hell. Oh God. All right. Let's keep it going. Barry had gotten a message saying that his dad was coming to Central City for a visit. Henry doesn't know about Kara, and Barry wanted to surprise him. Yeah, that's a real surprise, all right. Morning, Kara, Barry said, seeing her walking into the kitchen. Moaning, Dad, she said, sitting on one of the bar stools. Here you go, Barry said, handing her a plate of blueberry pancakes. Thank you, she said, yawning. Are you okay? Barry asked, sitting next to her. Yeah, I just had another nightmare last night, Kara admitted, playing with her fingers. Barry enveloped Kara in a hug. Stop with the hugs, please. Why did you tell me, sweetie? It should be why didn't you? It's like, why did you tell me? I don't give a fuck. Barry said, stroking her hair. I'm sorry, I just didn't want to wake you up. Please don't be mad. She's like, stop crying, please. We got enough crying as it is in 5 chapters. We're just having hugs and crying. I'm not mad. I just want to tell if you're having a nightmare, okay? Yeah, because I don't know. I'm a fucking idiot. Barry asked Kara. She wiped her tears and nodded. They finished their breakfast, and Kara was staying at Joe's house with Iris. While Barry goes to the precinct, once he sped them to Joe's house, she hopped off of his back. Have fun, love you, he said, kissing her cheek. Stop, you only see. I will love you too. Bye, Dad, she said, walking into the house, seeing Barry speed off to see CPD. Barry was up in his lab working when he heard a knock at the door. Saw his dad standing there. Hey, slugger, Henry said, dropping one of his bags. Hey, Dad, he said, walking over to him, hugging his father. Stop hugging, please. They were talking in his lab and catching up when Joe walked in. Hey, Henry. Hey, Bear, Joe said, walking into his lab. Hey, Joe, and here's the evidence from the shooting, Baring said, handing Joe a bag. Hey, Joe, Henry said. Thanks. Oh, and Henry, want to come get lunch with me and Cecile, Joe said. Thanks, but I need to introduce my dad to someone, Barry said, smiling. Oh, okay. We'll see you later, Joe said, leaving Barry's lab. Is it a girlfriend? Henry asked his son. What? No, 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 no. Barry said, oh, dare I say, is it a boyfriend? Henry asked, smiling. What? No, Barry said, laughing. Then who is it? Henry asked curiously. Come on, I'll show you. He sped them both to Joe's house and he unlocked the front door with his key. As he walked in, he saw Iris and Carr making cookies. Hey, guys, Barry said, walking into the kitchen with his dad, and he saw Carr's face light up. Hey, Dad, she said as she ran over and hugged him. Henry's eyes were wide open as his jaw dropped. Carr, this is my dad. Dad, this is my adopted daughter, Carr, Barry said, smiling. Daughter, Henry said, smiling and turning up slightly. Stop with the tears! God. Hi, Grandpa Henry, Carr said, hugging him as well. Stop with the hugs, please. We've gotten so many hugs and tears in the span of 5 chapters. Hi, Henry said, still trying to wrap his head around the fact that he had a granddaughter who was a grandfather. Carr noticed his tears in his eyes pulled from the hug. I'm sorry, did I hug you too hard? Carr said, hugging, looking down at her socks. No, I'm just really happy, said, wiping his tears. Fuck me. Carl looked up at him and smiled at him. You two catch up while me and Iris will finish up the cookies, Barry said. Okay, Henry and Carr said in unison. Oh, Barry said. Well, Barry walked into the kitchen with Iris, and Iris was struggling with the mixing. Here he sped and mixed the cookies. Thanks, she saw Carr and Henry talking and laughing. You know, even though you guys aren't even blood or of the same planet, she's so similar to you, Iris said, cleaning her hands. Yeah, I guess she is, Barry said, smiling at his daughter and father. As they placed the cookies in the oven, Barry and Iris walked over to the two and sat down and began to talk with them. Just as the time went off, Joe and Cecile walked through the front door. Hey, guys, Joe said, walking in with Cecile. Hey, hi, Grandpa Joe and Mama Cecile, Carr said, running over, hugging them both. Henry just smiled at her and then looked at Barry. That girl really loves hugs, doesn't she? Everyone loves hugs in this story, Henry said, laughing. Yeah, she's so positive and sweet despite her family being gone. Yeah, because we got to allude to that. I'm like, why is she happy? Or is it really? I didn't know that. Is that why you adopted her? Because you can somewhat relate to her? Henry said, yes, and because she's caring, funny, and just makes me a better person. Even though you only knew each other for a few days. Barry said, looking at his daughter, laughing with Cecile and Iris. Well, I can see she has that effect on a lot of people, Henry said. Yeah, and by the way, Carr's an alien, Barry said casually, but Henry started choking at his beard. Good one, son. Henry's still trying to get air. No, I'm being dead serious, Barry said, but he couldn't keep a straight face. While Henry regained his composure, Barry called Carr over. Carr, sweetie, can you go over here for a sec? Barry said, sure, what's up, Dad? She said as she sat on his lap. Well, Grandpa Henry doesn't believe you're an alien, Barry said, and Carr smirked and started to levitate and touch the ground and floated back down into Barry's lap. Yet, they never explained this at all. The looks from everyone was priceless. I mean, they knew she was an alien, but didn't know she had powers. Everyone staring at her made her a bit embarrassed, and she started to fiddle with her glasses. And Henry started laughing. You're incredible, just like your father, Henry said as he looked at Carl, who looked up at him and smiled. That's so cool, Cecile and Iris said at the same time, while Joe was still trying to wrap his head around time travel. His granddaughter was a superpowered alien. Carl, I need you to make me a promise, Joe said as he knelt in front of Carl. Okay, she said. No heroics until you're 18, Joe said, and Kara just smiled at his overprotectiveness and nodded. Then they just started talking again and laughing at past memories while Kara admired her new family. She may have lost one, but she gained one in return. She wasn't replacing her old family by any means, but she was overjoyed at the fact that she could call these people her family. Well, it's getting pretty late. I think we should head home, Barry said. Okay, Kara got off his lap and hugged everyone goodbye. Stop with the hugs. Bye, Dad, Barry said. Goodbye, Sylvia, Henry said, hugging. Stop with the hugs. Barry and Kara one last time. Barry smiled and sped them both at home. As soon as they entered, he heard snoring and looked at his shoulder and saw Kara's head resting there, fast asleep. He placed Kara in her bed. Good night, Kara, he said as he walked out of the room and into his fell asleep. Halfway through the night, he woke up and saw Barry, and he saw Kara in his bed, snuggled up in his side. He smiled at her and kissed her forehead. Sorry, Dad, I had another nightmare. I couldn't fall asleep, Kara said, frowning. No need to apologize. I'm glad you came to me, he said. Thank you. I love you, Dad. Kara said, smiling as she closed her eyes again. Love you too, sweetie. Then they both fell asleep, a father with his daughter and a daughter with her father. Oh my God. Man. Kara being Barry's daughter, what the fuck? Fanfic, can you shut the fuck up, please? Please. Fucking hell, this fanfic is melting my brain. I can't type. It's melting my brain. Fuck. Say. Like, I swear to God, it's like all hugs, 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 tears, tears, tears. God, say we're like 5 chapters in, and it feels like everything that it's just oh God. But anyway, guys, I this time I'm actually gonna really end it here. God, that fanfic was bad. So yeah, I do that on Thursdays called Splash Talk. I have a stream on Sunday too, so go check those out and check everyone else out. And yeah, that's the Austinator. Sorry for this being a little bit abrupt. That was kind of the extended ending. So here, let's try this again. You can find me at Discord at the Austinator, and you can find me on Twitter at the Austinator17. Also, I'm trying to reach my goal of 70 subscribers on the road to 100. Please go check that out. I'll check out my channel. Also, just be pretty cool in the chat. Like, don't be like yesterday's chat. So anyway, thanks to Anzo for coming in for a bit. And yeah, anyway, guys, thanks you guys for coming in. This is the Austinator signing out.